Have you ever thought about how much mental energy we put into being women, especially Black women? But as a 50 plus woman, I'm retiring from being the one who's always available for everybody else and creating a new life in a way that is meaningful for me. I'm starting to cook because I want me some vegetables, right? So I gotta get out my knife. I'll get out all my vegetables, and I'm also get out the pan that I want to use. So back to retiring from over giving, because I've been over giving my entire life, because that is what I, as a eldest daughter, as a Black woman, as a highly capable woman, have organized my life around. Self-sacrifice, doing for others, anticipating others' needs, and putting my own needs at the back burner. So I don't want to do that anymore. I am organizing my life around my desires, following my bliss, and creating a new framework around how I want to live, how I want to show up in the world, and how I want people to treat me. Because it really boils down to, how do you allow people to treat you? It's not easy. In fact, it's very hard, because when you have been the capable one, always doing everything for everyone, and that's been the expected thing, because that's the only way you get attention. That's the only way you receive love. That's the only way you become palatable to other people. It's not because I was this horrible person, but they did label me as mean, which I am kind of mean. I'm Capricorn after all. I'm also a Taurus rising, but I'm a woman of excellence, not because I do all these things, but because I am. And that's big for me. It's challenging to come out of the mode of perfectionism, excellence, especially Black excellence, being the oldest capable person in your family who has all the answers. I only had all the answers because I'm an overthinker, because I'm always synthesizing information. I'm always observing and making sure that I understand. But back to organizing and self-sacrifice. This is a story and a narrative that a lot of Black women like me have been forced to live in. Living in that narrative only serves other people. It gives other people the grounds to extract energy from me. But I no longer want to live like that. I want to live as me. I want to live free. I want to live as wholly acceptable, just as I am. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to accept, but that's not my problem. So changing the narrative is drawing for myself and for a lot of other people who are so used to me being the giving, loving, kind, caring, no nonsense, kind of mean, will tell you how you feel to their face and give you no room kind of to make mistakes. And I had to really get through that part, the making mistakes part. That was hard. But I decided not to force myself through this change, but give myself permission to do what feels right, what is right for me. And it's taken a lot of practice. It's taken a lot of back and forth. It's taken a lot of healing, because you don't just arrive at this automatically. You have to bring yourself, ease yourself into this new way of life. It has not been easy. I had to fight myself to get here. I had to force myself to not do so much. I had to force myself to sit with my thoughts and give myself the grace to fail. It has been a journey, because it has opened up so much in terms of how I perceive myself, how others perceive me, taking off the blinders and allowing the fear to wash over me, because this is a fear-inducing exercise. I started this journey when my life imploded. after my second divorce. I started questioning religion and the whole organization because I was feeling emptiness. I was feeling set up, and I didn't understand why my life was going the way it was going, why I was making the same mistakes, same decisions, why year after year nothing was really changing. Even though I was ambitious, I was doing everything that I felt I was supposed to do as a good Christian woman. But the mistakes that I had made in my life that the church deems as irredeemable was kind of eating away at my soul. My soul was precious. And so I needed answers. I needed to understand how to live a different life, how to make better choices and decisions. And it came down to having poor coping skills, being in a family where chronic depression is rampant, where problem solving is not part of the toolkit, and where blame and shame, add on top of that, the religious programming was the default setting. So I was questioning everything, questioning myself, questioning the church, questioning my family, questioning everything that I grew up in. And it was not tragedy. It felt tragic. It wasn't impossible, but it felt like I had to get to the answers. And those answers were, I didn't think inside of me. I needed to find the answers, and I went looking outside of myself. But later on, I would find that the answers were always inside of me. And I just had to be patient with myself, dig deeper, and allow the questions to come to the surface, allow the trauma to come to the surface, and process and release it instead of burying it year after year. My journey began. It was not a clear path, a lot of winding roads, a lot of backtracking, a lot of figuring it out on my own, because there wasn't really a manual, especially for Black women who were over functioning, the backbone of the family, the one everyone called and who had all the answers, but didn't have that same type of reciprocity and support. So that's why I had so much backtracking, because I just didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't have the answers, and no one around me had the answers. It was disappointing to not have anyone to turn to not have anyone to say, hey, here's a path, here's a road, here's a solution to the problem that you are dealing with right now. There was no answers. There was just more gaslighting and guilt tripping, everything that you find in a typical family. But when you start rearranging your life, people get uncomfortable. And they were uncomfortable. They were questioning my decisions. I was traveling right after the pandemic. And I was questioning about why I was traveling so much and not thinking about the people that I was leaving at home. And what if something happened to them and I wasn't there when there were 50 other people there? So it became ridiculous. I had to make a decision about, is this the way I want the rest of my life to go? How do I teach people how to treat me? How do I unravel my life and no longer orient around everybody else's needs, but start orienting around my own needs? That was the major question. That was the major dilemma that I was facing, because I had trained people to see me as reliable, and if I was anything but that, it caused friction. And I didn't like causing friction. I didn't like making waves. When I was younger, people would call me the peacemaker because I was always trying to find the answer, find a solution. I was too young for all that, but here I was trying to make everybody else happy and comfortable because I felt unseen. I felt like I wasn't the ideal child. I wasn't the ideal person in their eyes. And so I was doing only thing I knew how to do. So I took on an air of perfectionism. I wanted to be perfect so that people couldn't find fault in me. I wanted to be careful. I wanted to be useful. And I was very useful. I had been groomed to be useful. So there I was being useful, being careful, being indispensable. And that spilled over into my career. It spilled over into my life as a mother. And I was the golden child, as it were, who had everything together. Life as a highly capable woman is stressful. It is not for the faint of heart. I think that's why a lot of people don't do it. But when you feel alone, left out, insignificant, you do what you need to do in order to survive. And that was a survival technique. I was great at surviving. I was great at not asking for anything. I was great at being the supportive one. My name means listener, or one who listens. It's the female version of Samuel, so Samantha. And when I saw that, I said, wow, that's one of my superpowers. And I cultivated that superpower. So I became the one who listened. I organized my life around everyone else's needs and neglected my own needs. Self-neglect was a conditioning I learned growing up because having needs was inconvenient. If I had needs, it made people uncomfortable. Maybe because they felt guilty, maybe because they felt inadequate. But as a child, that's not your problem because you didn't ask to come into this world, right? You just had needs, basic human needs that allow you to survive and hopefully thrive. I learned how to do a lot of things on my own. I took care of myself without bothering anyone. I gave myself the motivation, especially after I saw that the things that I wanted and needed in life, I was not going to be able to get from people in my life because they didn't have the same drive and ambition as I did. They seemed content with being where they were, and I wasn't content to struggle for the rest of my life. I wasn't content to be in the same town for the rest of my life. That just wasn't what I wanted to do. So I guess I started making plans. And the other thing was I was exposed to a lot of motivational messaging. And it let me know that there was more to life than what I had been experiencing. And I wanted to know what that looked like. I wanted to experience more. I wanted to be more. But wanting to be more was inconvenient because it was expensive. It meant that I had to get an education, especially as a black woman, a black girl, because my theory is people didn't want to have to take care of me for the rest of my life. And that's okay. It was understandable, especially if resources were limited. Being a mouth to feed for the rest of your life was not ideal. So I got my first job at maybe 14, 15. I would, it's for part of a summer program. And I worked hard. I worked diligently. And I did well. I always learned my jobs well. And I always became a favorite on the job. So that was the setup for becoming a capable woman who had trouble with boundaries. The capable woman who could not say no, who could not take care of her own emotional needs, much less her own physical needs. Learn to take care of my financial needs through my drive and ambition. I guess I became a self-made woman. I became the woman who was going to make a way out of no way. Like I was telling a friend earlier, learning how to make bricks out of straw, you know? So that was my initiation into life. Now that I know better and I'm doing better, I refuse to go back to that type of life. I refuse to be the most capable woman in the room inside of family relationships, romantic relationships, and that's a whole other story where I'll share with you later. But yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that. Get somebody else to do it. Now that I've taken a stand for myself, I am hell-bent on enjoying my life, living my life the way I want to, the way that's best for me, the way that is most advantageous for me. Becoming radically selfish was, after I had my health scare, was my answer, because I went down a rabbit hole to understand my symptoms and figure out a cure. But then I started with my overthinking and decided I needed to get to the root of the problem, because after working in the medical field for my early career, I have always been of the mind that there is something deeper. There is a cause for all of this. And so I needed to find the cause for what was ailing me. I needed to find the cause of my problem, my health issues, my discomfort, and not just address the symptoms. That wasn't going to be enough for me. I had to have more. I could not be satisfied. And I've been accused of that. You're just never satisfied. No, I'm not. I'm never going to be satisfied when there are deeper answers underneath the surface. So I went in search of the answers, and I found them. And they look like overfunctioning, chronic stress, chronic depression, and probably high cortisol levels and all the other physical symptoms. But the deeper level was the emotional toll that my life thus far had been. I didn't really have a sounding board because I was everybody else's sounding board. I didn't have the words to express the deep feelings of pain that I was having every single day. I was burying my pain. I was overlooking it. I was denying it. I was in chronic denial. But to get through this, to heal myself, I had to believe that I could heal. I had to believe that I could get to the place where I was not always in distress, not always suppressing my feelings, that I would one day be able to express my feelings in a healthy way, and that I could overcome. So I allowed that. I allowed myself to go through the process and figure out the truth about who I was, who I am, what I wanted, who I was outside of family obligations and expectations, who I was out of labels they projected onto me. And as I continued to heal and restore myself, As I continue to heal and restore myself, I've documented a lot of the process and the strategies that I use. If you're interested, I'll have the link in the description below. All I can say is it was not a easy process, but it wasn't impossible. All of it is possible. All the healing that you desire, deserve, the healing that I needed in order to become this happy version of myself who is retired from the over-functioning, the over-giving, the self-sacrificing, is all available. And it's all inside of you. Sometimes you just need help, support, a guide, someone who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt to show you the path. My path and your path probably is not the same because our experiences are not the same, but the basics, they're the same. It's giving yourself the permission and having the courage to go through what may be the most challenging journey of your life. It's a trip. There's more stories behind all of it. If you want, you can leave a comment about what your experience has been, whether as a Black woman or a woman who has just been always at the forefront of self-sacrifice. If you want healing, not help. There's a lot of therapists out there. A lot of people who are willing to help you, but they will never really tell you that you can heal. They will never give you the blueprint for healing because they want to keep you on their couch. They want to keep you in their programs. I don't want that because I don't want that kind of drama. And I don't want your burdens. You have to carry your burdens and be responsible for your happiness and your healing. But I know that there is hope for every person who wants that for their lives. Now, if you don't want that, you can skip this video. You can never come back to my channel. But if you do, subscribe, like, even share this video. You may not be going through a lot, but there may be someone in your life who is, and you've been trying to help them and give them some sense of hope and encouragement. This video may encourage them, so share it with them. Till next time, start thinking about deciding to go through your own healing process. And I wish you well. I know that you can do it. Take care. We'll see you next time.